Warning. Listening to this show may result in increased levels of inspiration, motivation, and innovation. Side effects can include the immediate urge to take massive action to build a better business and life for yourself and others. You've been warned. Welcome to Influencers Radio with your host, Jack Mize.
And welcome back to another episode of Influencers Radio. Today, I think, we're going to be talking to a lot of folks that listen to this show. And one of the groups that really listen to the show quite a bit are folks that help other folks. That's what Influencers Radio is all about. It's about influencing the people in your business, the people in your lives. And so a lot of folks that are listening to this are people that are in the area of coaching, consulting, to people in business, whether it's health and wellness, whether it's marketing, all different areas. And the one thing that folks that are coaches and consultants, they're very, very good at what they do. They have solutions that can change people's lives, but sometimes they need some help themselves in allowing their message to get out there and being recognized as the experts that they are and their ability to help the people that they are helping. And that's why I'm so happy to have today's guest on, who is Suzanne Dibble. She helps exactly that, entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, to get laser focused and identify, because sometimes they have blinders on the who they help, and identify their market, the people that they are the most passionate about helping, the people that they are really successful at helping. And she helps them position themselves within that market as that go-to expert to be able to help those folks. And she's worked with people with small businesses, people that are ramping up their coaching and consulting business, but she's also worked with folks as big as Richard Branson, Simon Woodruff. I mean, you don't get much bigger than that. So she has kind of gone across the whole scope and understanding about marketing and business and positioning. And what I find really fascinating is she has applied this to herself and established herself as an expert, an authority in not just one, but multiple fields. She is a practicing licensed attorney and has not just established herself as expert in that, but like I said, other fields as well. And she's going to talk to us about that and some of the ways that people can transition and position themselves and become that big fish in a small pond. So with that, Suzanne Dibble, welcome to Influencers Radio.
Thanks for having me, Jack, and thank you for that excellent introduction.
Well, I can tell you, I get really excited about this because it is something that the one thing that bothers me is when I see people that are really good at what they do, but they have an obstacle of people finding out about or recognizing them as being really good at what they do. And so many people have the misconception that it's something they have to work for years and years to convince people that they're an expert at what they do so that other people will recognize or anoint them as that expert. And what you figured out early on in your own businesses is you just don't have to do that. You don't have to wait. So let's talk about that. What actually, got you to think about this and apply this to yourself to see these types of results?
Sure. Well, like you said, I'm a practicing attorney or solicitor, as we say in the UK. And really, it was in my own business when I'd been working in the biggest law firm in the world. And, you don't have to do any marketing in that position. The work pretty much just lands in your lap and you focus on doing the deals. So when I set up my own business, it was a whole new world of marketing for me. I'd never done it before. And I thought, how do I go and get my first client? I didn't have clients to take with me. And it was scary. So I did the kind of most obvious thing to me, which was going out and doing some face-to-face local networking. But that was very hit and miss. It took an awful long time to trek around the country to try and find the right group of people to go and talk to. You might end up with some work one week and not the next week. Once I actually got some work, I would do the work and then when I'd done the work, I think, oh my goodness, where's the next client coming from? It was very much that feast or famine type of working, which was really stressful. I didn't know whether I was going to get a client the next month to pay my overheads, and it just wasn't great. And then what actually happened to me, I was almost forced to think more strategically about it because I got pregnant. And I had really debilitating morning sickness that meant that I physically could not go out anymore and do the face-to-face networking. So actually, it was a bit of a blessing in disguise. And I thought, there's got to be a better way of doing this. And through probably, 2 or 3, what seemed to me quite simple strategies, within 2 to 3 months, I had completely established myself as the go-to expert in a niche, and I had more clients than I knew what to do with. I was, I won an award from the Law Society, which is our national body over in the UK, their Solicitor of the Year award for the work that I had done within my niche. That was within 12 months of me starting that business. I had over 200 clients, and I was only working part-time. I was working 3 days a week because I had a small baby. I was being invited to speak at all of the relevant conferences. People were approaching me to feature my articles on their online magazines and in their publications, and it all became so tremendously easy. And then like I say, that was probably within 2 to 3 months of me just consistently employing 2 or 3 what seemed to me very simple strategies. And also it was about getting the right niche. And again, that's something that I see, particularly with the coaches and consultants. They have a resistance to niching down because they truly feel that they can help so many people. And yes, that might be the case. But what I have to try to explain to them is you might be able to, but you need a marketing niche, because unless you've got a huge advertising budget, you are never going to get in front of all of those people who need your help. And like you said in the introduction, being a big fish in a small pond is what works, not being a small fish in a big pond. So trying to get that message out there to coaches and consultants who have so many skills that they feel that they really can help everyone, and getting that message to them is, it's key. And then in terms of my own personal story, then I like you say, I moved into a different niche, and again within a couple of months nailed that niche as well. So then because it happened quite almost naturally for me, when I started working more closely with people on the business and marketing side of things, I was a little bit surprised that other people didn't find it so easy to A, find a niche, and B, to actually get to be the expert in that niche within a very short period of time. So that is what my mission is now, is to help the coaches and consultants who are really struggling with that consistent flow of clients, and really are operating their businesses out of fear rather than from a position of power, because they're worried about where the next client's coming from. They're working with people that they don't want to because they're fearful that they're not going to find that next client. They're charging a far lower price than their true value because they're desperate to get that instruction. And, I don't want that for people. I want them to be hunted down by their clients and to have the choice as to who they really love working with. I want them to be able to increase their prices and all of the wonderful things that come from being the real go-to expert in their niche.
Yeah, well, you said some important things there I want to highlight. Is one, that you were suffering from a lot of things that a lot of the people that are coaches, consultants are suffering from, is you'd get a client and then you would shift from, marketing your business to fulfillment for that client. And then the next thing that you'd realize is, oops, I don't have anything else in the pipeline because I've been busy fulfilling this. And so it sounds like, one of your strategies is to not try to, go out and cast a wide net the next time you needed a client, that you kind of identified. And in the legal field, a lot of people would think, oh, I'm going to go out and tell people what a great lawyer I am, what a great solicitor I am, and that I can help them with whatever their legal needs are. But I guess is that when you identify that, no, if I just really narrowed down my focus to a particular group, it would be much easier for me to target them and to have them, recognize you as that expert. So they would start coming to you, and you would have to stop, going out and you use the word hunting, that they hunting you down rather than you have to hunt them down. How did that process come about, and how did that unfold to you as a strategy?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, I'm a business lawyer, and there are, as I'm sure in the States, in the UK, there are thousands of business lawyers. And I recognized that I was never going to be the go-to business lawyer. It had to be a much smaller pond. And so for me, rather than looking at a more specific sector of the law, so I could have maybe focused on, I don't know, franchising or maybe something like that, which is actually another niche of mine. But, and yes, I am very well known within that franchise world. But actually the thing that really worked for me was really getting laser focused on the sector of people that I was working with. And a lot of that was by necessity as well, as it happens, because I had young children, I didn't have childcare, and I had to look for clients who actually welcomed calls in the evening. So I thought, well, okay, who is going to welcome calls in the evening? Other people like me. So other women who had been in a corporate environment and they had left the corporate environment to set up their own business to be able to work flexibly around their families. And, that was a hugely successful niche for me. Nobody else was really targeting that niche. And also I'd become aware of the fact that there was a lot of support organizations growing up around that niche at about the same time. So I was quite attuned to that. So there were places for me to go where my target audience were all hanging out. So, literally within that kind of year that I started up, networking organizations had started springing up for women where, they could there was a crash there so that they could take their kids with them. There were conferences that were springing up, especially for mums in business. There was online networking sites that literally just about that time were sort of starting to happen. So seeing that just made me think, well, this is a great niche to focus and it was, it was, like I say, within a very short period of time, I had, sort of over 200 clients. I had more clients than I knew what to do with. And as soon as I did get established within that field, the word of mouth recommendations were, it was just like wildfire. Because there was that network of other business mums. And if they needed a lawyer, they went and asked their mate in their business mums networking group. And I was the only name, and still am really the only name that is being passed around in those circles.
And so, that's the one thing that a lot of people kind of contradicts what they think that they need to do is I need to spread the word out there to as many people as possible and cast the widest nets possible to be able to bring in enough business. But one of the things that I've seen that you're able to do is to look at a person, especially in the coaching and consulting world, and see that no, let's narrow this down. And you're able to identify and actually put a face to that person that they are helping so that they can become that person that is easy to refer for that market. So do you find that that's one of the first things that people have a hard time kind of reconciling that less, I need to market to less people in order to get more clients?
Yeah, absolutely. And what I was going to say is they don't really see what's under their nose. And for me, I find that I recognize a powerful marketing message. So when I feel myself getting excited, I know that they've hit on something. And it might be, that it's a sector niche. It might be that there's something unique about their process of working with people. It might be that their story has something transfixing within their story that they can capitalize on there to make that the niche thing about them. So I think there's lots of different ways of positioning your niche and your marketing message. But yeah, ultimately it's got to make people stand out. And, I had people coming to me and with reference to what you say about, marketing to less people. Yeah, people always say to me, yeah, but if I only market to X people, I'm going to miss out on the Y, Z, and, whatever other people I can work with. But yeah, I always say to them, look, my niche was working with business mums, but I probably worked with 40% non-business mums and men. I would get people who would email me and say, I've seen your website, or so-and-so's referred me to you. I'm not a business mum. Is it okay? Will you still work with me? Of course I will. I'm not saying I'm not going to work with them. It's just a marketing niche to get me known in that area. And also, as I say to people, you can have a number of mini niches. I wouldn't recommend that you start 3 or 4 mini niches all at once, but, start on one, master that niche, and then move on to another niche. And as long as your marketing messages are consistent around that niche and you get known for that, then, it doesn't mean that you can't work with the other people who happen to find you. It's just that your marketing message is going to be so much more powerful if it is, like you say, laser focused on one specific, well-defined section of people who you want to help.
Right. And so one of the other things that when people are recognizing this and they recognize that there is a certain area that they are really good and have a passion around helping to market. Another thing that folks kind of consider an obstacle that you've helped people get past is that, I've just kind of started my coaching, or I've been coaching for maybe a year or so. They're confident in their solution. They know they can help people, but there's something holding them back from putting it out there that, I'm the go-to expert around this. I'm the person, that they feel that something needs to take longer, that they need to wait for someone else to recognize them as that expert versus doing the things that makes it easy for them to be recognized as that expert because they are good at what they do. So you've helped people that may have just been are ramping up their business, whether it's in coaching, consulting, but by showing them how to let people see that they are an expert and really good at what they do, even though that they haven't been doing it for that long. What do you see as far as when folks are doing that? It's like they've hit their plateau. Have they had some success because they've reached their circle of influence, but now they've kind of exhausted that and they've hit a plateau as far as going beyond that?
Yeah, sometimes it is. Sometimes people aren't even aware of what you would call authority marketing strategies. So they have maybe done some local networking and they've had a few word of mouth recommendations, but they wouldn't even consider going to the next level and positioning themselves as the expert. And generally, I have found that is all about self-belief. They are waiting for somebody to come and give them permission, and that isn't going to happen. You could be an expert for 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Nobody is going to come along and say, yeah, you've made it. You're the expert. You can go and speak on this stage. You can go and write this book. You can go and do this. You have to claim your expert authority, as you well know, Jack. A lot of it is, and the way that I teach people to position it in their own minds is, if they truly believe that they can help somebody, then it's not really about them. I had one client who, she was a brilliant business. She was being phoned up to give interviews to Sky News, to BBC, our main, TV channels in the UK. And she was reluctant to do it because she thought it was self-promotion, and self-promotion for her was something that was bad. It was like she was bragging or showing off, and that wasn't the way she was brought up. And I said to her, if you have such a powerful message, it is absolutely your responsibility to go out there and to share that message and to help all those people that you can solve the problem that you can help them with. And as soon as she'd understood that, there was a complete shift in her outlook as to promoting herself and really, like you say, putting it out there. So people have lots of internal issues about putting it out there, and it is generally all about the mindset. But absolutely everybody is capable of taking the expert strategies that I teach and making them really work in their business. It's a lot of the case it's just a shift, and it can just be a very slight shift in some cases, but a slight shift in the mindset that will show people what's possible, and it can completely transform their business.
How many people, have you come across? Because I know we talked a little bit about this, that one of the things that you're able to do is to also kind of show people how to move from service provider, as far as, coaching in a service, a time one-on-one, to move to almost an information entrepreneur, to take what they do and I guess the word would be productize their specialization in coaching. And sometimes you were saying that people were kind of surprised or never even considered that was a possibility with what they do. And you're able to show them how that's not really something that is necessarily beyond their reach. It's something they can do as far as packaging up that knowledge to move from that service provider to information entrepreneur. Can you give some examples of that on why that's not something that you have to wait forever for as well, that it's something that people can start considering very early on in their coaching consulting career?
Yeah, I mean, I productized my expertise really when I did get to the point of having more clients than I knew what to do with. So I almost felt a sense of responsibility that, I couldn't physically serve all of the people who were coming to me for my help. And I did feel a really personal responsibility about that. And short of, working myself into an early grave to actually help them all, the only way I could figure out to do that was productize my knowledge. And I created my small business legal academy, which is it's unique in the UK, and is productizing, like you say, productizing my expertise. And yes, I did that at a point where I had firmly established myself as the go-to expert within this niche, and I had more clients than I knew what to do with. But certainly, I have seen people who have launched very successful information products at a much earlier stage than that. I would say, though, that this is the great thing about becoming the go-to expert in your niche, means that actually selling your online product is going to be so much easier, because, yes, it's brilliant to have an online product that can be making you passive income while you sleep. Who wouldn't want that, right? But, every day there are more and more info products out there. And every day it gets that little bit harder to make your info product stand out in the crowd. So if you have done the work before you launch your product of becoming the go-to expert, then it is going to be so much easier for you to launch that product and to really capitalize on that and get the sales in and sit back and earn that really nice recurring income.
Right. And when we talk about this go-to expert, a lot of people think of the common things, something sexy in the health and fitness or making money or something. But there's literally a go-to person in just about any industry where if it's a viable business, then there's no reason why someone couldn't position themselves as, one of or the leader in that business. So, as far as the actual types of businesses or niches that people are in, do you see any limit to that? Or have you worked with any folks that are in something that is really, really, really laser targeted and granular that they have success in because they are getting that targeted?
Yeah. One example of a lady I was working with recently, she was helping women over 40 with weight loss, and wasn't getting a lot of traction on that. We had a chat within minutes. I was thinking, okay, well, here is your niche, and it's body transformations for menopausal women. We did a quick Google, and there was, as far as we could see, nobody else in the UK was putting that message out there. So within minutes, she'd gone from helping women over 40 with their body shape, which is, not a focused niche where she's going to be front of mind for anybody, to finding a niche that she was the only person in. So in terms of it being easy for her to really make a mark within that niche, and she knew that there were people who needed her help, who were menopausal women who were concerned about their body shape. She was just choosing the wrong way of expressing that. But every time I now see a menopausal woman who's got an extra bit of weight around their belly, she is going to come in my head. But if we'd have stuck with a message of, women over 40 who are struggling with their fitness, it would, that would never have happened. So yeah, just keep drilling down and drilling down and drilling down until you get to that small enough pond where you really can make your mark.
Yeah, that's an excellent example. With people that are they think they might be getting very focused, but it's still too broad of a stroke to really capture that. But yeah, it's much easier to refer someone that is that tight of that laser focused on something. So I think that right there is really what makes you an influencer, to be able to identify that kind of thing the way that you do, that can really change someone's business dramatically, very, very quickly, by just that repositioning them and how much easier it is for them to be seen as the expert in what they are doing. Now, you clearly have been able to help a lot of folks, and you've done this for yourself. How can folks find out more about Suzanne Dibble and what you do, and ways that they can learn how to apply this to themselves?
Sure. If they go to www.expertauthority.com, they will be able to see how I can help them and the best way of getting in touch with me.
Okay, perfect. That right there, I think, is where a lot of people see, if anybody's out there thinking that, will this apply to me? Am I really ready to do this kind of thing? You definitely need to check that out, because I think it'll break through some of the mindset barriers that you may have around that. And that's something that I think you are very good at helping folks understand, and seeing the difference of kind of breaking through those misconceptions of waiting for someone else to see you as that expert, and for you to do the things that make it easy for others to call you the expert with that. And I want to thank you so much for coming on to Influencers Radio today and sharing this with folks. Well, thanks for having me, Jai. I could talk to you about this all day. But it's been an absolute pleasure, so thank you. All right. Well, fantastic. Folks, check it out. We're going to have the link there on the show post for you to check this out. And it really is. It's something that, whether you're just ramping up a business, if you're, in coaching or consulting, or you are have been there for a while and hit a plateau, Suzanne is very, very good at quickly identifying and shifting to help position you as that person, and that person that's easy for others to refer as well. So until next time on Influencers Radio, remember, you are the only real game changer.
You've been listening to Influencers Radio. To get all past shows and updates on future shows, visit influencersradio.com today, or follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/influencersradio.